Hey, welcome back to another episode of Heroes and Videos. We're going to be talking new comics again today. We've got some Marvel Battle World. We've got Beneath the Trees. We've got some Ultimates, some X-Men, some Avengers. I'm going to be winding up with DCKO number 3. I know most of what I do is no spoilers. Today, at the end of the show, we're going to be diving into some deep spoilers on DCKO number 3. So I will let you know when that happens ahead of time. But I'd love for you to like the channel. Again, we're going to be getting right into it, starting with Battle World number 5 from Marvel. This book has really been good. It's been like the Avengers Forever book from way back, where you've got Marvel characters basically from all over. You've got King Thor there. You've got Starbrand from the New Universe. You've got Spider-Man from when he was just starting out. He's only been Spider-Man a few weeks, I think, at this point when he gets brought into this battle world. James Buchanan Barnes is in here, though he's not on the cover, from World War II. Bucky's in there. Ms. Marvel during her days where she was wearing that rockin' black outfit, the Warbird kind of outfit. Luke Cage with the tiara. Really good. Now, most of these characters on the cover here aren't really featured in the last issue of this series. The villain has the spotlight. That's Michael Korvac, that's in the background there. He is. It's a really good character study, and it's probably as good of a job as they've done dealing with that character since Avengers 177 way back in the day. It's just a neat look. So Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne are kind of the major players in this, though Carol Danvers gets a spotlight as well. But it's more about Korvac and them trying to get a handle on this character as a villain, as a hero. We're not really sure. Great ending. It's been a pretty good book. I've been kind of surprised. I've enjoyed it, and it seemed like it was just long enough. Another book on the other end of the spectrum. That was not necessarily a feel-good book, but this one's definitely not a feel-good book. Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, Rite of Spring. I was just talking to Dave, the local comic shop owner, and I hadn't read the original Beneath the Trees stuff, so I'm going to have to go back and see if I can get that in a trade or something from him, because he was saying it's really, really good. I just latched onto this when it came out. This is the 5th issue of 6, and really, really good but dark and disturbing book. So I don't want to spoil too much about it, because I didn't really know where it was going. I have a pretty good idea where it's going now as of this issue. But yeah, really, if you guys are, I'd love to know what your recommendations are about Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. I'm curious if these characters are from that, or if this is just something else in that world. As you can see, they're kind of like funny animal characters, but not funny animal characters. And really good disturbing book, the kind of book that sticks with you. So if you're not reading it, you should be picking it up. Again, there's just one more issue after the one that just came out. Speaking of things that are wrapping up, the Ultimate universe in Marvel Comics is wrapping up. This is the Ultimates book. Got a couple of alternate covers here behind me. This Ultimates number 20 cover with the multiple Nick Furies is probably more indicative of what's actually happening in the book. This is the appearance of Ultimate Vision. That's how my Vision made the shelf this week with Superman and Ram Santa. But it's a neat concept with the old school Marvel folks. I think will like the origin of this Vision, and it's just like most of Hickman's books. And I don't think, no, he's Camp. I can't remember Mr. Camp's first name, but is writing the book. But most of these stories, way back even to the first issue, are kind of one shots. They're self-contained stories, but they also connect to the greater whole. This one's just like that. All of these work very much like a tapestry in this universe, bringing things to what it seems like is going to be a conclusion here very soon. So Ultimates is something else. Avengers 34 in whatever volume we're in now, but it's Legacy issue 800. So the actual covers back here behind me, the regular cover for both of those books. This one I really liked, so I picked it up because it's kind of my old school Avengers. Actually, it's before my old school Avengers. My favorite Avengers are probably from 50 to 100, but this was the era just prior to that, where you got Hercules, green suited Quicksilver, Wasp, Hawkeye, Scarlet Witch, Iron Man with the V helmet thing going on. So that just a great cover. Hadn't been that impressed with Avengers leading up to this, and it turns out this is not the end of the story. There's a couple of more issues I think left in the current storyline before it wraps up. But it's just really neat. If you told me in terms of an anniversary issue, good part of this issue just is splash pages covering a lot of the big major Marvel events that have happened in the last 3, 4, 5 years, and it's a great. There's some battle in it, but it's really a bigger discussion with Kang, who is the villain of the piece, and didn't feel like it would work as I realized what they were doing, but it does. I enjoyed it. It's a good book, and it's also as a backup has a return after I think they said 8 years. Has it been 8 years? Brian Michael Bendis is returning to Marvel. Now, I don't read enough of the trades or whatever you kids are calling it these days to know if he's returning to Marvel from DC, like to write stuff full time, or if he just did the Avengers story in the back of this. But it's a very cute Avengers story with some of the original Avengers, and they slowly become more than the original Avengers, and it's just that witty back and forth that Bendis is known for. I like it. I guess it's kind of like I don't know, I want to say like ice cream or something. You can have too much of a good thing, but in little doses, it's okay. And so this was just the right amount of Bendis for me. I do think, he's an amazing writer. I enjoy his stuff. I know some people don't. Your mileage may vary. But Avengers 800, really good book. We are wrapping it up here with Uncanny X-Men 22. This character, I'm going to assume it's pronounced Mutina, Murder Me Mutina, which was a character, a villain that showed up a few issues ago in kind of a horror story for the Uncanny X-Men. This is a group that's down in New Orleans in the Bayou. A pretty deep character. That she's a little bit more in depth here in terms of whether she wants to join the X-Men or not. Kind of reminded me of that X-Men issue, the Uncanny issue where Rogue wanted to join the X-Men, and Professor X taking her in. Some of the folks are kind of on the fence about this. Marquez, Gail Simone writes it. Marquez is the name of the artist. It's a beautiful book. The art on this thing is really next level. So it's one of those things I kind of want to say, hey, I need to keep an eye on this artist because they're going places. Great look for the character. You see her on there slashing through your regularly scheduled cover. It's a good book. This is Legacy 722 for the Uncanny X-Men book, but Mutina, and if it's not pronounced that way, please let me know in the comments. But this is kind of, it says the sequel, but it's an interesting take on, hey, does this character want redemption? Is she wanting to be an X-Men for the right reason, or an X-Man for the right reasons, and their reaction to her? And I think she's going to make a really good villain for a really long time. So we're going to get into the spoilers here for DC KO number 3. This was the variant cover I picked up because I thought it was pretty cool with Superman versus Guy Gardner. Some of the other characters in the finals are down below. Actually, it's kind of a major spoiler. Those are those are the 8 characters. Well, I guess we knew that. They're going from 8 to 4 in this issue, right? So these are the 8 that remain: Superman, Wonder Woman, Lex Luthor, Aquaman, Joker, Cyborg, Guy Gardner, and Zatanna. And so I'm going to dive into this with spoilers here just for a little bit. That's the variant cover. Here's the actual cover. Don't know if it'll be major spoilers, but it's one of those acetate covers. So when you flip it back, you see the actual cover. And yes, those are 3 of our final 4. So so you probably guess who the 4th one is. But it's just beautiful book. The art on this thing is amazing. Going to be showing, as opposed to showing some scans, I'll just put up some stuff here. Some great back and forth with Superman and Lex Luthor, in terms of the way the understanding of each other those characters have. Here's your final 8 we mentioned earlier there. Cyborg, Wonder Woman, Joker, Guy Gardner, Zatanna, Aquaman. The conceit of this book is that it's tag team time. So each of those 8 gets to choose a partner from the heroes and villains that have already fallen. And so there's some interesting team-ups there where it's just some interesting character study in terms of who everybody picks for their partners. Guy Gardner, it's a little telling, picks Hal Jordan as his partner. Superman picked Captain Marvel. or Shazam. Don't sue me, Marvel. And so as his partner, so those four are squaring off, or that pair squaring off. Lex Luthor picks Supergirl, which I found interesting, and over here in what was really cool, Aquaman, who, if you recall, vanquished Hawkman in their battle last time around. He actually chose Hawkman, so that's kind of cool. Like Flash and Green Lantern, Hawkman, Aquaman seem to be a recent team up. Wonder Woman chose Big Barda, which I thought was pretty cool. Cyborg, strangely enough, chose Connor Hawk for some reasons that become apparent as they go into the battle. And Zatanna chose John Constantine, which I thought was pretty awesome. A lot of these, though, felt like they were doubling up on powers. Honestly, if you look right down at that 3 of the 4 on this side, you got a magic user choosing a magic user, super strong Amazon warrior type choosing this similar character. Guy Gardner going with Hal, I thought was the most inspired choice. And then the Joker chose somebody that I'm not going to spoil. You don't have to read that one. But it's just really neat to see the Green Lanterns facing off against the Superman there, or Superman and Captain Marvel. The funniest, one of the funniest things to me, and here comes another spoiler, is that Lex with having chosen Supergirl as his partner, facing off against Hawkman and Aquaman. The very first thing that Supergirl does is punch Lex, and then turn to the other two heroes and say, "Hey, how about we all three team up and beat the you know what out of Lex," which was really cute. So Joker is Joker throughout this, which is interesting. Makes for a great dynamic. And I don't know, I'm not going to spoil everything, but I think I already mentioned that we do get down to the final 4 in this book, which is very, very cool. They're still flashing back and forth between where the book started with the what does DC call them? The Trinity, Wonder Woman, Bruce, Clark, and actually Lois playing a board game. And so they flash back to that night and some of that conversation as well, because that also plays into the book. So I won't also spoil the big spoiler at the end of the book. If you've been reading the book, you know what's coming up. It is absolutely going to rock, and that's your one and only hint for that. But yeah, DCKO, it just rocks. You need to read it if you're not reading it now. Even if you don't read all the side stories, even if you haven't read All In Special and the stuff leading up to it, though you should be reading that. It's good. It adds to the story. But if you're just reading the regular book, those first 3 issues, it's a great ride. So kudos for DCKO putting that out. That is all for this week. Hope you enjoyed the show. Please hit notifications if you want to get notified when we put out new content. Would love for you to subscribe to the channel. That being said, I hope you're having a great week. Thanks for spending some time with us. And as always, keep reading comics, keep going to see movies in theaters, and be kind to each other.